Okay, so first of all, thank you, Craig, for inviting us here to speak about something I'm quite passionate about since I've been at BIFA. You just heard a bit about who I am anyway, but I've worked in the industry over 35 years. I've only been at BIFA just 6.5 years, within the first few months, developed an apprenticeship. There's some sheets on the that Joey's been passing around. It's got all the relevant apprenticeships that I think hope to today in transport logistics, because there's probably around 40 in the transport logistics sector, but I've tried to put on that document there the most relevant ones. I'm sure there's something that's not on there, but for example, in transport logistics, you get like aircraft pilot and things like that. So we set up the apprenticeship in international freight forwarding, which is the one profile I'm mainly on there. And also I set up a networking group for young people just over 3 years ago called the Forwarder Networking. We'll talk about that in the presentation as well. But at BIFA, I'm responsible for training. That's what I was first recruited for, and also responsible for communications now. It's a new department set up just over 18 months ago as well. If you want to ask me some questions at the end, we'll leave it to the end as well. All right. But like I said, I'm going to talk about apprenticeships, some top tips for you, how to go about the recruitment, and also demystify the apprenticeship landscape as well, and then the Young Forwarder Network system. So let's kick off with apprenticeships. So where do you start? A lot of people might know this. I get contacted a lot most weeks, so I want to take on an apprenticeship or a young person. Where do we start? Well, you're either, as a business, a levy payer or a non-levy payer. And if you're a levy payer, it means your payroll is more than 3 million a year, and the government will charge an apprenticeship levy of 0.5% in a digital account, and that's how the larger companies pay for their apprenticeship training. If you're not a levy payer, like we're not a levy payer at BIFA, we only have to pay 5% of the costs of the apprenticeship training. You still have to pay the apprentice a salary. That's what people think sometimes, that 5% I can employ somebody, I need to pay 5%. No, you don't. That's just to cover the program. So the freight forwarding one costs $9,000 to deliver over 18 months, so you pay £450 to the training provider. They get the rest of the money from the government. You still have to pay them a salary. I'll come to that. Right. So hopefully that simplified things. And so 5 useful tips when employing apprentices or thinking about it. Number 1, line managers must have time. And I've got first-hand experience of this before I worked at BIFA. The first ever apprentice was talking about pear-shaped and our fault. I thought I had a great person working for me who could look after the apprenticeship and monitor and mentor them on a day-to-day basis. But I failed her, I didn't give her enough coaching, and you might have to do that. So I go far to say, if a line manager hasn't got time to spend with an apprentice, don't bother recruiting an apprentice. They're really needed. We talked on our table earlier about people working from home, young people working from home. It's not a good recipe, really. I know people want that, but for young people just starting out, they need that mentor, they need that person to go, how do you do this, Paul? How do you do that, Carl? And come over. So the pandemic was a nightmare for that, of course, but so that's the number 1 tip, really. That's why it's number 1. If you haven't got time, or the line manager hasn't, don't do it. But also remember that you might have to give that line manager some coaching, some training, because I wouldn't say don't do it. We need young people in transport logistics. Secondly, choose the most relevant apprenticeship. You see on the sheet, I think there's 11 on there, and them are 11 main ones, but there might be an apprenticeship out there that is more suitable. I want people to do the freight forwarding apprenticeship. You need more young people in doing freight forwarding, but there could be one more appropriate, and that's really, really important. We've just took on an apprentice at BIFA, and I'll come to her in a bit. So choose the most relevant apprentice. There's loads out there. You might think as a business, I need someone in sales and marketing, I need someone in finance, I need someone in IT, HR, and we all know when we talk about logistics and the range of roles within it, it's not just moving the cargo, it's everything. There's loads of other roles you could consider. So choose the most relevant apprenticeship is my second top tip. So this is one highlighted that I just wanted to touch on because there's talk about skill shortages earlier. Brexit, we all know about that. The International Freight Forwarding one is the only apprenticeship standard that has customs as a mandatory module. And I don't think there is any. There never has been, and no one's told me there is anything else. So that's the one, that's the only one with customs procedures as a mandatory module. You'll see on the right-hand side how it works is that the employer then picks the appropriate pathway. And that is to just keep the funding nice and simple. For example, if you're based at Heathrow, the likelihood is to pay pathways air freight, Felix, so sea freight. So you can still teach them multimodal, but then you do that in your own time and so on. All right, so that's how ours is structured, and we got advised when we created this 4 years ago to do it like that because we get the funding through them. It keeps it nice and simple. And just touching on that, and since we started it, we finally got it approved in 2018, and as of the official figures are only up to June last year, we had 834 apprentices start the international freight forwarding apprenticeship, which is good, which is better than what it was, of course, because what people were doing before, they were doing like business admin and shoehorning a bit of training from BIFA or any other providers. But, and this is sort of my soapbox moment, really, anyone in working in freight forwarding and thinking this could be for them, at BIFA we got 1,500 members, and that's since June, so I think we can do a lot more, and hopefully I can talk about some little tips here as well that will help people think, actually it's not too bad. We'll go for it. Number 3, we talk about this on our table. You need to pay young people fairly. And not for me to say what you should pay them, or what do people start on, I get asked that a lot. And it's not for me to say what people can pay them, but you need to pay them fairly. And they've got responsibilities. At 17, we all know they can drive a car, and they've got to pay for the insurance for that. So, and everything else that goes with that. They've got costs, they want to live their lives. So you've got to, and incentivize them along the way. At probation, you'll get X amount. At 6 months, you'll get that. And you do a course or qualification, you'll get this amount. And when you complete, you'll hopefully full time. So pay them. I was at an event 4 years ago, and one of our members said, I took on an apprentice, I paid them the national apprenticeship wage, and then they left. And I was, well, actually, that could be the reason. You know, and someone pinched them, and that, well, so the answer was right in front of them, but they couldn't see it really. So, and because of Brexit, and because of skill shortages, things have gone up. The salaries have gone up, which is great, and and only good for the industry and the young people, for them staying in their employers, and the employers are definitely getting more savvy, and it's really great to see that. Once you've got a young person on board, provide them with challenging opportunities. We've got Brooke, you can see Brooke on the screen. She's 18 years old and she's making a massive difference to our team. At traditional old BIFA, who didn't want to take on an apprentice and kept going on about it, and now people are getting it, and she's come with a younger mindset, digital mindset, and so on and so forth. You've got to give them opportunities. I know loads and loads of young people, and they're making a massive difference to their businesses. I meet them every week in the job I do. So you've got to provide, don't give them run-of-the-mill stuff to do, all right? Challenge them, get them to bring their digital side into the business. I always say to the young people, I know we've got a few in the room here, which is brilliant, and you young people, you pick the brains of all the older people, because that's the key to success, I think. Provide them with challenging opportunities. And it's brilliant to see some young people here today, because let them out of the office as well. Let them do some networking, build their own professional network up. Too many people say, oh, we can't let them out, we've got jobs to do, this is fine, yeah, but quite often it's like once every other month and things like that. They go to these events, which are quite often free, the smaller events, and they're going to bring that knowledge back to your business. And they'll always learn things at these events. So encourage them to get out of the office, even though sometimes it might seem hard for operationally. And my bonus tip, and this is Brooke, our 18-year-old apprentice, is don't be put off by the red tape. And this is probably more aimed at the SMEs who are non-levy payers. We're a non-levy payer, like I said, because what happens, you have to sign up to the government gateway, do a digital account, and you think, oh, what a palaver this is, and it's actually not that bad. You just have to get your payroll person involved, because you're using government money at the end of the day, and it's easy, and then you can post an advert for free of the job, and honestly, we've been through it, and I'll do it again now. Once you've done it once, I've made it, and it's a 5-minute job. Honestly, it's a 5-minute. So don't be put off with, I've got to set up a digital account, alright, which is what you have to do to take on an apprentice. Alright, so this is Brooke, she's doing a fabulous job. Some of you might have met her if you was at the awards last week. our awards, and hopefully she'll have a long career with it. And also, just to back up, obviously at BIFA we don't move cargo from A to B. Brooke's doing a level 4 apprenticeship in public relations and communications. So we talk about this a lot in our industry, that the range of jobs that are within it, and this is a sort of a prime example really. So yeah, and hopefully we'll take on more apprentices at BIFA now as well. And she's certainly lowered the average age as well, which is brilliant. So moving on to recruitment, so you decide you're going to take on an apprentice, and how do you go about recruiting that person? Well, first of all, do your recruitment early. In 2 weeks' time is National Apprenticeship Week. In 5 weeks' time is National Careers Week. Those weeks are always the same 2 weeks of the year, first week of February, first week of March. They're that for a reason. So the big focus on it, then the kids have got to go into their mock exams and start focusing on their exams and so on. Don't leave it till October, November, which some do, and I get a call saying to me, you know, what did you take on an apprentice? Have you got, and do you know anybody? Well, no, a lot of them just started uni or they've gone to college, and to do it now, start thinking about it now. And there's lots of stuff going on in these weeks as well. There's hashtags and lots of traction going on within social media. It's a prime time to do that. So do it early. And the big companies have got these future talent teams are on it. They'll be doing all sorts of stuff. And I'll come on to school engagement in a sec. And post jobs where young people are likely to look for them. So as an advert, when you take on an apprentice, you can post your job straight away, free of charge, on the government's Find an Apprenticeship site. It's free. That's where young people look. Your own website, social media as well. And when I talk about social media, really, parents look out for the young people. Yeah, parents look out for the young people, and say where I live in Birmingham, there's a B46 community, B46 jobs, and then you see the parents looking out for them. So the young people don't do Facebook anymore, I'm told. It's TikTok and stuff like that. But the parents are all over it, you know, and they're looking out. It's human instinct to look out for their kids. And so put something on there as well. So, and like I said, we at BIFA, we've been quite successful. All the people we've employed, Brooke we got through social media, and then other roles we've got as well. Not recruitment stuff are all here today, they're a big part of their business. But put it where, the main point is, put it where people are most likely to look. Don't leave the recruitment to someone else. You know, take responsibility, because what will happen is that apprentice, you need to appoint an apprentice training provider that will deliver that apprenticeship for you. And there's only certain ones, there's only about half a dozen that deliver the freight forwarding one. And someone mentioned South Essex College this morning, the CTEC, the SR apprenticeships and logistics skills network. But you need to take ownership. It's easy for the apprentice provider to say, we'll do it for you, and say, all right, okay then. But what they'll really do is you post it on Find an Apprenticeship. Have an incentive scheme within your own company to do it. And I quite often get asked, you got any talent pool of apprentices at BIFA? I was like, no, you haven't. You've got to do it yourself, really. It's the best way to do it yourself. If you also go back to the do it early thing, you'll get the pick of the better talent as well. That's another point as well. Like I said, apprentice training providers will do it for you, but I also do know that they're so pushed and they're so stretched that, you know, I don't know how much time they dedicate to it. So take the responsibility yourself and you'll probably get better results. A lot of people join the industry, we know that through friends of friends, family, employees and that sort of stuff. But I'll come to that as well. But you can also engage with your local school or college or community group, and it's a lot easier than you think. And this is where we're talking about this morning. Now, it's not on the logistics, isn't on the curriculum. There's an awareness initiative called Generation Logistics that's making a massive effort to raise the awareness. That's government backed. But the reality is, it's not on the agenda. It's not on their curriculum. It's not like to be for the short term. But schools need employers' help. Schools know where I live. The schools all know Jaguar Land Rover by where I live. But what they don't know is all the smaller companies and the medium-sized companies. And they don't know where to start with those companies. And the employers, talk about our members, they think it's really difficult to contact and work with a school. And every school has to name their careers lead on their website. So you just need to contact them and do something in National Careers Week or National Apprenticeship Week. And then, I'm into football, I support Birmingham, but so it's sort of a bit wrong on that. But there's not like a fixture list, like schools have got a fixture list of careers, like a football team would have, mock interviews, speed networking, probably not as hectic as that, but they've got all these things going on, and they just need companies to engage with them. As simple as that. And let's just say, just do one thing once a year, and it make a massive difference to the industry. Whatever that may be, and whatever that fits for you. At the same time, your marketing, your businesses in the local community as well. And reach out to us. We'll try and help you and give you some ideas about what you could do as well. But it's so much easier than what you think, and it's like a lot of things. Lots of things are easier than what you think. Yeah. And this is what we're trying to do at BIFA. We're trying to engage in the schools in the 5 main areas. But I said to someone earlier, we're only 17 people, and it's really they're doing it. So we're trying to engage our members and get them and encourage them to do that. This is a school in there. We took an employer with us, and we took some young people with us. If you've got young people working for you, it's really important to take young people with you. But don't go along and bang out your corporate presentation in front of them. We took what we thought was a brilliant presentation, very visual. We didn't even look at it. And you've got to give them something to do, engage with them. And those of you might know, we created a Kahoot game, and we did a quiz for them about working in logistics. And we did a logistics careers fair at the school as well. And you can see here, NNR, one of the sponsors there that were on the screen earlier, all getting involved, all giving up like pretty much what was an hour and a half of their time. Not a lot to ask really. And so I did, and so I got me on this bandwagon. I went over to Felixstowe schools, and a couple of people from Felixstowe, and I took Brooke with me, not our Brooke, another Brooke. And in February last year, during National Apprenticeship Week, we spoke. It's quite daunting really, from I'm used to it. 200 year 10s and then 200 year 11s within 40 minutes, and all just staring at us. But Brooke was an ex-pupil, and I knew that, and she did a brilliant job, and we just interviewed her about her experience of working in logistics. Because when I come across young people, once they're in the industry, I love it, and it gives them lots of interesting stuff to do, providing lots of opportunities. She was saying, I've got this opportunity, that opportunity, and loads of them are doing really well. But what that does then, 5 months later, she went on her own without anybody. She didn't tell us she was doing it. And they had a careers fair, and she just went on her own. And then we set up a young forward network, and then you've got 2 young people going on their own to an event from 2 different companies. And straight away, the confidence is there, and it's not, the young people want to hear from the young people, they really do. So if you've got a young person, give them a project to do or something like that, but just give them drag them along the first time. But it was brilliant, and it's good for you. You'll enjoy it as well yourselves and make you feel good afterwards. And I set up the Young Forwarder Network because once we've got the apprenticeship, there's really nothing for them to get involved with. It's all about the policy meetings and regional meetings. So we set up a young network for young people. We had over 1,000 different young people take part, and we're into our 90s now of different events around the country or online. And so this is all really about letting them out of the office. We try and do one event every quarter in each of the 5 main regions, and online every 3 weeks. But again, it's hard for people to get out of the office. It's hard for people to get out of houses when they're, work at home on a Wednesday, so I can't be bothered to go to Birmingham or Ipswich or to do that. We've done some great things, we've got some great guest speakers, and it's all run by young people. So the one in the middle is the actual speaker, he looks quite young, but the other 4 are all on the committee. They tell us what they'd like to do and like to go and like who to hear from. And we've done tours of London Gateway recently. They even did their own panel show in East London in November as well, of what they thought, hosted by one of them as well. She's that confident now, she's hosting it. tours of Emirates, behind the scenes airside. And this is what I was talking about this earlier. Someone said, I made a couple of notes from this morning. Someone said, oh, there's a perception that young people can't get up and go to things. Well, we had a breakfast meeting at Felixstowe. Did I go 1 2 minutes there? No. And first, we'd never done it before. Breakfast, then a portal. We're going to meet at 7:45. Everybody turned up. So, don't know, just probably the fry-up was quite tempting, and the bacon sandwiches and stuff like that. But it was absolutely brilliant. I did all the network before we went on the port tour, and then the port tour. We'll do it in that format again. So actually, obviously they were motivated to go, but I was thinking a bit like that myself that morning, thinking I wonder how many no-shows we'll get, but everybody turned up. And there they are. And luckily we had a massive evergreen wrestling that day, one of the 24,000 TUs, and yeah, it was a really good morning. And it was done, like we met at 7:45, we all finished by 11. And just so a few hours up, and they would come back with all that knowledge in their head from what they'd seen. There's nothing like learning with your eyes. Like I said, I'm responsible for training. We employ trainers who teach theory and things like that, and customs procedures, but nothing like learning with your eyes. And we get them involved in other things like, and you might think it's daunting if you're a young person watching this, but, and they were, don't get me wrong, they were like bag of nerves before they went on there. Once they've done it, they were well up for it. So this is the multimodal show last year. 3 of them on a panel telling the audience what they think about the industry. So someone also said about pushing out the comfort zone, so get out of your comfort zone. So the young people here today, do it. It might feel daunting the first time, but also for the employers, push them to go out of the comfort zone. Give them the mentoring and the coaching, we all need that from time to time. But they're still talking about it now. Recently, those I saw a couple of them recently, yeah. But to just finish off really, we're talking about what are we going to do. We all fall in the industry. I fell in the industry. It doesn't have to be like that. What we need is employers to go out to schools, out to colleges, out to community groups, the local cricket club when they've got big teams, and talk to them about the industry and let them choose the industry. And I think we all made a bit of a collective effort to do this more, or do this once a year, whether it be National Apprenticeship Week, National Careers, or whenever. I think it would make a huge difference, and that would be my ask really. Go and do that. Put it into your business agenda once a year, plan it, etc., etc., and just do your bit really, because I think we've all got to do it. Our 1,500 members have got to do it, and I would say, if I'm having a guess, 100 probably do it. So that's we'll keep going. That's our sort of plan at least. We can do our bit, but that's it. And then just a couple of other things from this morning I mentioned as well, is that work placements, they are really, really important and can have a massive difference, but seem a right inconvenience and a pain to organise. But schools really value this. So if you can give young people work, but one of our members took a work placement at the Logic School near Heathrow, and for 2 weeks last summer, and it's like a try before you buy really. So they love the young person and they employ him. So don't dismiss that. It can be a pain. Obviously, when you give them a good 2 weeks agenda to do that, and just on the gender side as well, people talk about that. The official number for the freight forwarding one, it was quite interesting. Someone's on about around 60-40. Yeah, so actually in the freight forwarding one, 41% of apprentices are female, so it's about right when, I think one of the tables was talking about 60-40 earlier, Jamie. So it's about right what you would guess. It depends on the type of job, and then also freight forwarding as well, 75% are under 24 that do an apprentice as well. So you can use apprenticeship levy money to train staff. So that's good to see and healthy to see, which is a lot higher than the general trend as well. So